Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life and host of this podcast, Incredible Life Creator. And today I have with me Alyssa Kumle. Hey, Alyssa.
Hey Kim, how are you?
I am great. It's great to see you because we haven't seen each other in a while. We met at the Well, which is a Christian organization where we do journaling with Jesus, and I miss going because I haven't been in a while.
Yes, I know it's such a sweet time. I love getting to meet you and see you every week there and your smiling face.
Well, thank you. So, just so people know who you are, I'm going to read your short bio.
Okay, yeah.
So, Alyssa Kumle is an author, speaker, and painter. Through many trials and a lot of adversity, she has learned a deeper dependence on the Lord and a level of heart healing through creativity. Alyssa uses words and art to encourage and bring hope to those struggling with self doubt, disappointment, and discouragement. And I know you have quite a story, so I'm going to just let you go from here. Tell us about you, how this all came about.
Yeah, absolutely. So it kind of started when I was 7 years old. I was diagnosed with a form of muscular dystrophy in my feet and legs. And it started with a slight limp, but I used to be really active, play sports, dance, all the things in my childhood. And when I was diagnosed, I it just opened the door to a lot of fear and an unknown future, and just kind of set me on the path of new normals of physical therapy and doctor's appointments. And middle school and high school years were just really hard because I started to develop like a really funny walk and I would trip more. I got leg braces and a walker, and I just was made fun of a lot and left out. And I was usually the one sitting on the sidelines watching all the other kids have fun when I was, wishing I could be with them. And so I felt like rejection was a big part of my life and my story. And yeah, it took a lot of years of wrestling with my faith and wrestling with God. Why me? Self-pity. Didn't think I could live a good life despite an incurable progressive neurological disease. And I didn't see any hope for my future, but that I'm kind of bypassing a lot of information, but basically the Lord he called me to write a book, which I never thought I'd be a writer, but it was in 2020 during COVID. I lost my sister unexpectedly to a she got hit by a car and passed away very tragically. She was only 29. And then about a month later, when COVID shut everything down, and during such a hard and painful season, the Lord was giving me words. And He was showing me my life like a slideshow. Just, all the times I wrestled with my faith and all the times I felt left out or felt unworthy or, wrestle, whatever it was. He was just showing me like how He was always there. And anyway, so this book came to be called Doubtless, Walking by Faith, Not by Sight. It's really my story of just overcoming a lot of adversity and trial. But how He's always made a way and He's always been faithful to get me through hard times. And so I wrote it during a season of loss and hardship. But yeah, it's called Doubtless, Walking by Faith, Not by Sight. So
So, as you were growing up, what was your support system? Did you have a good friend at school? Did you have a family that was supportive? How did you get through? Because so many of us go through, different things. It might not look the same way, but everybody has their struggles. So, what kind of support did you have?
yeah, I'm so thankful for my family. They've always been my rock. And I grew up with two older sisters, so I'm the youngest of three girls. Now I have one sister, but my parents are a huge part of my journey because they are really strong and they never let me feel sorry for myself. they just said, whatever it is, we're doing it. And we would travel and I mean, we would do everything that everybody else would. And my mom just always made it happen. You know, it would take some extra planning, some calling, making sure we had a wheelchair in place or, extra help. But she always made it happen. And that's how I lived. And we just did everything normally. And I'm so thankful for my family. I didn't have a lot of good friends growing up. It took me a long time to meet some good friends. I think people had to mature and grow up and I mean I was lonely in middle school, high school. I had friends here and there, but you learn who your true friends are when you go through trial because I wasn't in the cool crowd. I never was. I was always kind of on the outside and I kind of felt like a loser like a lot of my life, to be honest. And but my family was a huge part of my journey. Their strength was really what got me through my hardest days. So,
And is there some things that you've done throughout your life to just encourage yourself or to boost yourself up when you needed that?
you said what has helped
Yeah.
me?
Yeah. What has helped
Um,
you? Because like for me,
uh,
sometimes I journal or I pray or I'll dance or something to
yeah,
make me feel better.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I've always It's funny, looking back, I've always enjoyed writing. Like as a kid, I always had diaries and journals, and even now I'm a big journaler. Um, and that, excuse me. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm a big journal, big writer. Time with the Lord really helps, like prayer and worship. And I mean, I will say through a life of trial and disability, it's led me to depend on the Lord in a way that I don't think I would have otherwise, and I'm really thankful for that. I've learned a different way of the Lord's heart that I didn't realize before. But I mean, that's been such a journey of growth and pressing into my faith. But growing up, creativity was a big part. Like my mom always had me in and out of art classes and extracurriculars. Like I did cooking classes, music lessons. Um, so I was always involved with stuff. But that was hard too because a lot of my friends were playing sports, and doing physical things. And so I was doing a lot of things that were very sedentary and like solo. Um, and it was lonely and I didn't really appreciate it at the time. I was doing it to try to cope with feeling like an outsider. Um, but art is the one thing I stuck with, and that became a really big part of my healing of my heart because it was how I expressed myself. And it felt like it was my way of running and dancing and being free was through painting. And so the power of art just has so much meaning to me in my life. And now it's my mission in my heart to just bring joy and hope to other people through creativity because of how healing it's been for me. And the Lord really has spoken to me through art over the years. So me and my mom, we always go to art festivals and art shows and community events because I love just seeing other people's art, connecting with them and their stories and meeting other creatives. Like that's kind of my thing. I'm always like out and about hearing, like listening and seeing what people do. And that just makes me so excited because there's so much talent out there. And I love to see people embrace their unique gifts, especially if they've overcome something or, we all have a story, but
Yeah, and I purchased some of your postcards that you have that are just beautiful. And the thing about your art is it's very meaningful also, especially, as anyone who has Christian faith. Um, just looking at the art that you create, it just evokes such a feeling of calm, love, acceptance. It's beautiful. And I have a couple pieces, the two of your smaller ones up on my fireplace mantle because I just think they're perfect. So I have a big picture of a cross. It's a painting. Then I have yours on either side, and I showed you that picture.
Aw.
But yeah, it's very meaningful.
I'm so glad. And that's really my heart. Like, I don't create art to necessarily make a lot of my money or anything. I really don't. I just do it because it brings me joy. And I've gotten to see and learn more and more as I do art how it impacts other people. So lately I've been kind of pairing art and ministry together. So I'll make little cards with Canva. I'll like download one of my paintings and I'll put scripture on it. And then it's just a neat way to bless people and encourage them and speak life and identity over them. And I think the power of art is it's a visual representation of who God is. And I'm praying for more of that like prophetic art gifting so that the Lord and the Holy Spirit speak through me as I paint and that so that ministers to other people. I'm still growing in that, but I just recently did a live worship painting at a women's event. And I did Jesus hugging a girl. It was like a 3-week part painting, and they didn't know what it was gonna be until at the very end, but it was just so cool to see all how it impacted the women there. And like they all came up to me and just said, me painting during worship and during this session, like it gave them visions and it reminded them of things of their past. And it was so cool to see that action. So I'm just praying for more opportunities for like even live worship painting. We'll see what the Lord has, but
Beautiful. And if someone asked you, what is it like to have a relationship with Jesus? What does your day-to-day life look like or feel like, or how is it different than without him? How would you answer that?
that's a good question. I don't know what I would do without faith and without the Lord, without having that hope.
Mhm.
I don't know how we would get through anything hard. I mean, losing a sister, and then in December I lost an aunt. Like those are two of the closest people in my life, and that was like such a fear of that I've always had is losing a family member. But like he comforts the brokenhearted, and he gets you through your hardest moments. And um he got me through that. He surrounded me with blessing and support and people praying for me. And that's I don't know, that's like anyway, didn't really answer your question, but I think the same with like a life of disability and hardship. Like the main thing that's gotten me through it is my faith in the Lord. And I think it's hard what's been hard is that I know the Lord is a healer. It's in his word. It's a promise. And I've seen him heal a lot of people. And what's hard is I know that he can heal me like that. And he hasn't. So it's like, that waiting and that, why are they healed and I'm not when I've been waiting 30 years? It's like I wrestle with that because God, he can do anything he wants to do, and sometimes he chooses not to, or maybe not yet. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
believing for my complete healing and my creative miracle and for arches to be formed in my feet and for, like, I believe he can do that. Like I've seen it. And I think, um, anyway, when you're waiting for a big thing like that and he hasn't done it yet, that tension comes of like, God, am I going to believe your promises? Am I going to continue to believe that you are who you say you are, even if I haven't seen it in my own life?
Mhm.
And the thing is, I've never turned away from the Lord. I've never been angry with him. I always press into him with the hard questions and the pain. Um, I don't know if that's super common. I know a lot of people run away from him when they're disappointed or discouraged. And I mean, I can't say I'm a wrestle with disappointment and heartbreak, but every time I get turned to him with the feelings of heartbreak and disappointment and sadness and whatever it is, or longing for more and not seeing it. Like when I turn to the Lord, He really fills me with peace and comfort, and He speaks to my heart, and He surrounds me with community, and I don't know, He gets me through it, and He keeps showing me that He's so present in my hardship and that His grace is sufficient. And so yeah, it's interesting. It's like I don't like this trial. I don't like this disease. I actually found out I don't have muscular dystrophy. I have something called GAN, giant axonal neuropathy. It's actually like a very severe, rare terminal illness. Like only about 100 people in the world have it, and it's definitely not a good diagnosis. And when I found that out, I was like, oh my gosh, is that gonna be like, am I gonna die in a few years? Like, it's like a lot to take in when I saw other people with this disease who are fighting for their lives, and I'm like, God, how can this be? But um He's kept me going, and He's sustained me, and I'm one of the oldest people with it, and I'm doing really well. And it's not encouraging, it's scary, but it's also, I think even that's like a sign of healing, even like just the way that He keeps me going when I don't think I could do something. That was a really long answer. I'm sorry.
No, it was great. So, let's talk about your book. What is it about? What are we going to find inside?
Yeah. So it's doubtless is it's really a book about overcoming. But it's broken into part one and part two. So part one is my story growing up with normal childhood, and in the Chicago area, and then getting a diagnosis, and then my school years and high school and to college, and like different things I went through, like inaccessibility, and always having to find a different route to get a ramp or an elevator, just all the like hardships about that, and then heartbreak and rejection. And even in churches, like I was always a part of small groups that were really cliquey, and even in church settings I felt really left out and different, and I'm like, God, why, what is wrong with me? It's a lot of that. And then leading up to COVID and loss, and then it's like, oh my goodness. And then also in part two is revelations I've learned, and how the Lord started to heal my heart and to reveal Himself. And I talk about rest and beauty and redefining adventure, and then um, different mission trips I've been on. And so it's just like a mix of my life and things that I've learned from the Lord. And then the last chapter is called Doubtless, and it kind of ties it all together. And it's like hindsight 2020, looking back, seeing all that God did in my life and how He's faithful and that He's still working. And so yeah, it's a book to encourage you in your faith, and I wanted to inspire people to keep believing the Lord in the midst of a really bad diagnosis or circumstance, that He can open doors that no man can shut, and that God makes a way when there is no way. And He's done that time and time again in my life.
Mhm.
Uh, and I mean, if I were to tell somebody one takeaway that I've learned over my 31 years, it would be that God is faithful. And you can look at me and be like, how can you say that? I have leg braces, I can barely walk. I'm always limping or tripping. And then I'm either in like a wheelchair or with a walker. And it's like, it sucks. Like, I don't like it. It's very tiring. It's really hard. I always have aches and pains. My feet hurt, but I like the Lord has given me so much joy. Um, He's just given me such a strength to keep going, and I'm a go-getter. I'm always out and about, and it doesn't make any sense because it is so tiring. But it's like I don't know.
So, Alyssa, earlier when you were talking about different struggles, you mentioned accessibility, as a person who needs ramps and things like that. And I've actually had people on the podcast that they actually that's what they do for a living. They're wheelchair bound and they go out and they make sure there's access for people. And I had another person on the podcast that she is specializes in travel all over the world, but she knows all the rules about accessibility and she makes sure when you get there you have everything you need. So
Oh,
I guess the question I'm asking is, if you are a person with disabilities, how do you get what you need as far as accessibility? How can other people help with that?
sure. So, well, I guess just talking about like what I've noticed out and about with I don't know. A lot of places claim that they're accessible is technically they have a ramp or something, but it's really not. A lot of places are not really accessible. Like, and I've noticed a lot of people that I know with wheelchair. I don't know a lot of people in wheelchairs, but I know some, but I know they don't go to a lot of places because it's not easy. Like the parking situation, even if there's like one handicap spot or two, it's like hardly ever enough room for a wheelchair, or it's on a slope, or um there's not a ramp nearby, like, or it's like, totally in the opposite direction than the store entrance. I see that all the time, and it's like people are like, "Oh man, the ramp's over there." Sorry, there's an ambulance. There's a ramp like all the way over there, but the door is right here. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna like, get some help up the steps before walking that way. So I see that a lot. I've learned to ask for help, which is good, but a lot of people don't want to ask for help. So anyway, ramp location, handicap spots, and also a lot of people like park in them now, and they're hard to come by, like handicap spots. They give all the stickers for everything, like headache, shoulder pain. I don't even know, but I actually need it because I can't walk. So it's like really discouraging when people are using the spots when they seem mobile. And then getting into spots, bathrooms are a major issue. Like, I mean, doors are so heavy in public space. Pretty much every public space, the doors are very heavy. They're very tight bathrooms. I get it. Not everywhere is gonna have the room and the space for like, accessible bathrooms, but it's a major problem. Thankfully, I can mostly walk and I leave the walker outside and hold a heavy door, but then it's like I gotta find my balance on the wall and it's just like very dangerous. So bathrooms are a major issue, very crowded and crammed. So, I mean, there's a lot of things, but I think even people who say they're accessible, they're not. And I went to UGA, which is a whole story in itself. It's so funny because that's like such an inaccessible, hilly, big campus. But I really wanted to give it a chance, and but they had to move half of my classes because the buildings weren't accessible because the older buildings, they don't want to, renovate them because of the history. But I couldn't get in half the time, or like the ramp would be all the way on the back and the door would be locked because nobody went that way,
Mhm.
or like lecture halls were technically accessible, but I'm like all the way at the top and the whole class is down below. And I'm like, hello, I'm up here. I can't hear you. And they would be like, oh, hi, it's accessible, right? Because I'm in the room with them. But, um, but am I a part of the class? Not at all. It's so far away, from everybody. And so just things like that, like things that people don't think about it if they don't go through it, which I understand. But I mean, it's been such a journey. I've been stuck like multiple times when it comes to, oh, I have to go the other way or I have to go the long way to meet you inside, but then there's some obstacle that way or so, and I gotta find like a key to a door that's locked to get inside. So I don't know. The world is not really made for disabilities. I mean, I think it's getting better, but it's tough. So
Yeah, and I think I'm really glad we're having this conversation because, like you said, if you don't go through it, you're just not even aware
yeah, which
of
is
it.
fine. I truly understand that. Um, but and my mom, anybody who like spends time with me, I think now they're like so in tune with like, oh my God, where's the ramp? And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
it's okay, don't worry about it. But I appreciate that though. Or if I meet,
Mhm.
sorry, there's a loud engine right there. Um, People in their fancy car. I'm sorry, there's so much noise where I am. I apologize. Or people are like, I'll meet you for breakfast. It's like if it's in a busy area, who knows where there's going to be parking? I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
I'll meet you there, but just things I need to keep in mind. It's discouraging. So
Exactly. Yeah. So, um, you do your art, you do your writing. Is that where you do a lot of your just internal looking at yourself and seeing where you're at? And how does the journaling help?
yeah, it's so easy to feel like journaling is a waste of time because sometimes I'm just writing my thoughts or like my prayers, or they could be repetitive or redundant, but I think there's a lot of power in journaling because you're in tune with your emotions and what you're thinking and feeling. And I think it's really important to get it out and just like process how you're feeling. And I mean, with journaling with Jesus,
Mhm.
a place I go to, you bond by we we meditate on scripture, we worship, we quiet our minds, we meditate on scripture,
Mhm.
but then we ask Jesus specific questions and we let him answer. And it's like, instead of overthinking, I just, whatever is something that comes to mind. And he's always speaking and he's so quick to answer us. It's just, are we listening? Are we taking that time to be quiet? And I love journaling, and I would encourage anyone to journal because we forget so much from our day to day that things happen, and prayers that have been answered or encounters I had. Like it's so easy to forget. Oh my God, so much happened last week. But then when I read it, I'm like, oh my God, how I forget all that? Just
Mhm.
like keeping track, and it's also building a history with the Lord and just like, okay, God, you did this before, you can do it again. Or like when I'm feeling discouraged, I look back at my journal entries or things I prayed or asked for or praised or got excited about and what God did. Like, I'm like, oh my God, God did so much in the last
Mhm.
like 3 months. I forgot. So I think everybody should journal. And people are like, I'm not a journaler. What does that mean? That's okay. I think it's something you could grow in. But even just like writing a gratitude list, we can just, I mean, the importance of that is huge because it keeps you in perspective of like, oh my gosh, I have so much to be grateful for. Let me write it down,
Mhm.
get it out, in a place where it's not just in your head.
Yeah.
So I love writing, and that too has just been such a powerful way to express myself, and that the Lord speaks like through art and writing and whatever it is. I mean, I encourage anyone to, whatever their creative giftings are, whether it be cleaning or cooking or organizing, like those things are gifts, and we all need to share our gifts because that's really giving God so much glory, but it's being a light too to people who need it, because otherwise the world would be such a boring place.
Mhm.
So,
Exactly. So if people wanted to connect with you, get your book, get your art, where do they find you?
yeah, so I'm kind of redoing my website right now. But I do my website right now. It's called Doubtless Ministries. And I'm gonna be adding more to it, like speaking and art, but it's all in the works. But then Instagram, just my name, Alyssa Kumle, ALYSSAKUMLE. And then I also have an art Instagram. brilliant underscore brushstrokes, but I'm not super active on it. And then you can find my book on Amazon as well, Doubtless, Walking by Faith, Not by Sight. It's a bright yellow book with my face on it. That was the Lord because I didn't he literally told me like it's gonna be a bright yellow cover, and I'm like, I don't even. It's so bright. I don't want it to pop that much, but he told me it would be yellow. I'm like, all right. So yeah, it's on Amazon, and or if you want to buy it from me directly, I like to write like a personalized note inside or stick some of my art cards inside and just like bless them. Um, yeah, and so I with art and writing, I would love to write more books, maybe like write an illustrated children's book. I'm kind of praying about how I can incorporate art into my writing too, or maybe do like a prophetic art book. I don't know. It's all I'm praying about it, but and then I'm writing a Bible study right now to go along with Doubtless. That should hopefully be out in the next few months. So
Beautiful. Well, now I have a personal question. What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment in your life at this point?
cool. Um, well, I mean, I love Jesus. I love community. I'm definitely a people person. Like if I could if my job could be coffee dates with people, I love like meeting people for coffee. I would do that all the time because I just feel like I love doing life with other people, and I'm tired of everyone being so busy. I don't we're too busy. And I think I live for just meeting with people, hearing their stories, like encouraging them and where they're at. And then art, I love like painting with others. I love connecting with other creatives. It's my dream to have a studio slash gallery space where people can get together and do like workshops together um and do life together. But yeah, right now I think like people are my main ministry because I just am always connecting with different people. I've never had like a set group. I kind of float and I hop around because I just love people so much. So I'm always like wanting to connect with everybody and hear what do you do? And I don't know if I answered your question, but just we're not meant to do this life alone, and I think if anybody ever wants to connect with me, I'm like, yes, let's do it. I won't make time because it's so exciting to me. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today and for being very transparent and just sharing your heart.
yeah, absolutely, and thank you for having me. It's been a really great blessing and conversation, and I'm looking forward to speaking more with you in the future.
Okay, so I have one last question. What is your best advice on living an incredible, amazing life?
Um, get to know Jesus. Give your heart to him. He's so good and he turns pain into purpose and he brings beauty from ashes. Um, and he's always writing a bigger story than we can see.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Alyssa.
You're welcome. Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, sounds great. Have a good day.